I love this house, but I would never let my buyers purchase it. Hi, it's Neelam Singh, your Seattle real estate agent. If you are house hunting in the greater Seattle area right now, you are probably overwhelmed, frustrated, maybe even tempted to just grab anything that looks cute. But there are certain homes I will consistently tell my buyers to walk away from, no matter how pretty, how updated, or how good the staging is. Today, we are talking about 15 types of home I would avoid at all cost. At all cost. And to what to do instead? Stick with me till the end because I will give you a quick checklist to use when you are scrolling through listings. You do not waste time even touring the wrong homes. Let's jump right in. Right at the top is 100-plus-year-old Seattle charmer with old guts. I love old Seattle homes. Craftsman in Wellingford, Four Squares in Capitol Hill, those 1900 charmers in the Queen Anne, gorgeous. But here's the truth. If the systems haven't been properly updated, they can be complete money pit. Red flags I see all the time in 100-plus-year-old homes. Old plumbing, sometimes still galvanized or even lead pipes. Outdated electricals, knob and tube that was partially updated 50-plus years ago. Asbestos in pipe insulation or old floor tiles. Steep, narrow staircases, low railing, weird historic quirks that are actually unsafe if you have kids. Can you buy an old home safely? Absolutely. Only if plumbing and electrical have been modernized properly, any asbestos has been professionally abated, you understand you are signing up for ongoing maintenance. But if you are on a tight budget, don't love projects, and the listing description says things like full of potential or kept in same family for 60-plus years with no mention of system updates, that's usually a big no from me. Number 2. Homes in flood zone or obvious drainage problems. We live in a very rainy city. Some areas also have rivers, creeks, and low-lying pockets that are more prone to flooding. Two things I'm very cautious about. First, homes officially in a FEMA flood zone. That means higher insurance cost, higher risk as weather events get more extreme, harder resale later. Secondly, homes with obvious drainage issues even if they are not in a mapped flood zone. Watermarks on basement walls, some pumps running constantly, mushy lawn near the foundation, always damp smell in the lower level. If you fall in love with a house in a potential risk area, we can talk about getting a flood coat upfront, having a very thorough inspection focused on drainage and foundation, negotiating repairs or walking away. But blindly buying into a flood-prone or soggy lot, hard pass. Third on the list is home with underground oil tanks. Here in older neighborhoods, underground heating oil tanks are still a thing. The problem? If that tank leaks into soil, you are looking at tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in remediation. So here's my stance. If there's a decommissioned underground tank, I still prefer that it's removed and the soil tested again. If the seller refuses to remove a known tank or provide a solid documentation and clean soil reports, I would strongly consider walking away. There are other homes, but there's only one you. Be cautious. Fourth on the list, the shiny flip with crusty craftsmanship. You know the listing, fully remodeled, new everything, designer finishes. You walk in and if photographs look like a dream, but in person the grout lines are uneven, the paint is slopped onto outlets, trim does not meet cleanly, doors don't close quite right, that's a huge red flag. A sloppy flip often means corners were cut behind the walls, cheaper materials, little regard for long-term durability. If the cosmetics are messy, the easy stuff. What do you think happened with plumbing, electrical, framing? If my client insists on pursuing a flip, I push for full inspection by an inspector who's tough on flips. All permits and receipts prove that major systems weren't just a slapstick job. Personally, I would rather see a well-loved dated home than a rushed flip. At number 5, we talk about builder model homes and first phases. Proceed carefully. New construction can be fantastic, but there are two specific situations when I'm very cautious. First, the builder's model home, by the time it hits the market, that model has been used for years, had thousands of people walking through it, appliances and systems already partially through their warranty. On top of that, builders often jam every upgrade possible into the model, not always cohesively. It's usually in an inferior location in the community, near the entrance, parking, or a busy road. and they often want a premium price. So more wear, less warranty, higher price, and not the best lot. I'm not saying never, but they rarely recommend them unless their numbers really make sense. Secondly, the first phase is where the builders is still figuring everything out. Construction kinks, subcontractor issue, things do get better in the later phases. Yes, builders often offer introductory pricing on phase 1, but you are also the guinea pig. If you want new construction, I usually like the middle phases, not the experimental one, not the leftover final scraps. 6. Houses with chronic low water pressure. Life is too short for sad showers, trust me. I'm not talking about a clogged shower head, I'm talking about low pressure from the street into the house. What are the signs? You run the dishwasher and suddenly nobody can shower. 2 people brushing their teeth at the same time feels like a luxury. If the supply line from the street is undersized or the neighborhood pressure is low, there may be very little you can do without major work and expense. So we can test pressure with a gauge, inspect the main line and regulator, and if we confirm chronically low pressure that cannot be reasonably fixed, I will be the first one to say, let's keep looking. At number 7 on the list is the unicorn, most expensive house in the neighborhood. Buying the nicest home on the block sounds flattering, but it's not always a smart investment. If your home is significantly more expensive than everything around it, the neighboring homes can drag your value way down. Appreciation is often slower. When you go to sell, buyers are comparing you to cheaper nearby options. Instead, I usually suggest buy a solid mid-range home in a strong neighborhood, or the worst house in the best neighborhood that you can improve over time. Let the neighbor's value pull you up, not the other way around. At number 8, unwarrantable or troubled condos. Seattle Metro has a lot of condos and townhomes, especially for first-time buyers and downsizers, but not all condo communities are created equal. I'm cautious about unwarrantable condos don't meet certain lending insurance guidelines. Buildings with underfunded reserves, ongoing litigation, missing or inadequate insurance. What that means for you: harder or more expensive financing for future buyers, higher risk of special assessments, potentially tougher resale. That is why when you buy a condo, I'm nerdy about reading the resale certificate, looking at the budget and the reserves, calling the lender to confirm that building is financeable. If the numbers or documents don't add up, well, no view or rooftop deck makes that worth it. At 9th place are mobile homes or modular on questionable terms. Manufactured or modular homes can serve a purpose, especially in a high-cost area like ours. But here's the concern: many don't appreciate like a typical single-family home. You may be paying lot rent on top of everything else. Financing and resale can be more complicated. If you are considering this route because of price, I will often say, let's see if we can find you a small condo or modest townhome first, or a further out single-family home that still fits your long-term financial goals. I want you to build equity, not just pay for something that behaves more like a car than a house in terms of value. That's how I define manufactured homes. At 10th spot, bad locations. No matter how pretty the house is, location still beats granite. Things I flag as location concerns: right on a busy road or loud intersection, bagging to industrial or very commercial location, high voltage power line looming right over the yard, chronic odor near certain farms, industrial uses, obvious safety or nuisance issues. Could you get a gorgeous, fully updated home in one of these spots? Yes, and you'll usually pay less than you would for the same house a few streets away. But, a big but. However, resale will be harder. Appreciation may lag. You may learn you hate the noise, traffic feel once you live there. I would rather see you buy a more modest home in a fantastic location than a dream house in a spot you will regret. 11th place, homes on a leased land. If you are not familiar, leased land means you own the structure, someone else owns the land. You pay them a monthly or yearly fee for the privilege of sitting on their dirt. In many cases, those fees can go up. You build equity only in the building, not the land. Financing and resale can be trickier unless there is a very specific strategic reason. I'm almost always going to recommend you own both the home and the land in this market. At 12th spot is zero lot line, no real yard, and constant neighbor entanglements. Zero lot line homes are where your wall is basically the fence line. Your neighbor's exterior wall might be at the edge of your property. I have seen disputes about plants causing water on the neighbor's wall, excess issues when someone needs work done, privacy concerns, weird liability questions if a worker falls on your property. These are serious concerns. Some people truly don't care about a yard, and that's okay. But if the lot line setup creates constant neighbor frictions and legal gray areas, that's not a peace of mind. If we are going dense low yard, I would usually rather see a well-designed townhome community with clear HOA rules, or a condo where the exterior is the association's responsibility. At number 13, structural issues and foundation problems. There are project houses and then there are structural problem houses. Things that make me very cautious. Large or stair step cracks, doors and windows wildly out of square, floor sloping significantly, evidence of poor repairs without documentation. Can structural issue be fixed? Yes, with the right engineers and contractors and a big budget. But even after repairs, you may disclose the prior issues when you sell. Some buyers will be scared of. You may not recoup everything you put in. For most of my everyday buyers, I will say, unless you have the appetite, funds and stomach for this, let's find something with cosmetic issues, not structural. At 14th place, homes with big unpermitted additions, ADUs. I see this a lot. Garage conversions, basement apartment, big sunroom or bonus room. And then I dig deeper. No permits. The risk? City can require you to bring it up to code or even remove it. Insurance may not love it. Appraisers may not give full value. Safety can be questionable. Egress, electrical, ventilation. If you are paying extra because the house is advertised as income potential, ADU or extra finished space, I want permit history. Proof it was done legally. Confirmation from the city if required. If it's a big chunk of the value and totally unpermitted, that's usually a no-go for me. And finally at 15th spot, overlay unique or awkward multi-level floor plans. Let's talk about two things. Overlay unique themed homes, the dragon staircase, the full-on princess castle bedroom, the circus basement, the 500-gallon built-in fish tank. Fun, yes. Good for mass resale? Not usually. Most buyers want a clean, neutral canvas. Don't want to pay to remove someone else's hyper-specific taste. Secondly, homes with tons of level and weird steps. You have seen them, 3-4 levels with half stairs everywhere. Step into the living room, step down into dining room, up again in the kitchen, down again to family room. Issues? What's the issue? Harder as you age. Not great with mobility issues or little kids. Trip hazards. Smaller buyer pool when you go to sell. In general, simple floor plans. Show better, live easier, resell more easily. Quick recap checklist: when you are scrolling online or touring house, be extra cautious with 100-plus-year-old homes with outdated systems, homes in flood zone or with drainage problems, homes with underground oil tanks, sloppy flips, model homes and very first phase of new builds, chronically low water pressure, unicorn most expensive house in the area, unwarrantable or troubled condos, manufactured mobile homes in poor value situation, home in obviously bad or compromised locations, homes on leased land, zero lot line setup with constant neighbor entanglement, structural foundation problem homes, big unpermitted additions or ADUs, overlay unique or super awkward multi-level layouts. If you are still watching, you are serious about making a smart move, not just a pretty one. Here's what to do next. Hit subscribe and like so you don't miss my next deep dive on buying safely in Seattle metro area. And don't forget to download my free buyer checklist. It includes questions to ask about AE system and permits, a quick HOA condo red flag list, a walkthrough sheet to use at showings. And if you are thinking about buying or selling in the greater Seattle area and you want an agent who will actually tell you not to buy certain homes, reach out. My info is in the description and I would love to help you best way possible. Signing off, Neelam Singh, your Seattle real estate advisor. See you in the next one.